Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. You don't have hospitals, you don't have advanced medicine, and a simple scratch from a bronze spear could mean a slow, painful infection. Every single day, you are locked in an evolutionary arms race, not against predators, against each other.
We usually talk about history in terms of weapons. We obsess over the sharpest swords, the biggest catapults, the deadliest guns. But we completely ignore the other side of the coin, the innovation that actually kept humanity alive long enough to build civilizations in the first place. I'm talking about armor.
How on earth did early humans go from wearing animal pelts to strapping literal sheets of metal to their chests? How did we figure out that beating rocks into metal plates would stop a flying piece of death? Let's dive into the story of how humans invented armor and how it completely changed the destiny of our species.
To understand armor, we have to go back to a time before metal even existed. Picture the Stone Age. If you got into a fight with a rival tribe, what were you wearing? Absolutely nothing. Or at best, some cured animal hide. Now, hides are great. They keep you warm, they look cool, and they might stop a glancing blow from a wooden club. But the second someone invents a sharper, flint-tipped spear or a composite bow, well, leather stops working real fast. For a long time, humanity's armor was just pure avoidance. Don't get hit. But as populations grew, tribes started clashing over fertile land and resources, and avoidance stopped being an option. People started getting hurt, badly. And this is where human ingenuity kicks in. Because necessity isn't just the mother of invention. Desperation is its cool, slightly unhinged older sibling. Long before we had iron or steel, humans looked at the natural world and realized something profound. Other animals had armor, so why shouldn't we?
So what's the first real step up from a raw animal hide? It's a technique called cuir bouilli, or boiled leather. Ancient craftspeople discovered that if you soak thick animal hide in hot water, wax, or oil, and then let it dry, it turns into something that behaves almost like modern hard plastic. It becomes rigid, tough, and capable of deflecting a blow that would normally crush ribs. But leather was just the beginning.
If you travel across the ancient world, from the steppes of Asia to the islands of the Pacific, you see people using whatever they had lying around. In Siberia and ancient North America, warriors carved armor out of heavy animal bones, walrus ivory, and thick antlers, lacing them together with sinew. It was heavy, but it could stop a bone arrow cold. In the Pacific Islands, like Kiribati, warriors didn't have metal, but they had an abundance of coconuts and deadly sea creatures. They wove armor out of tightly woven coconut fiber and actually reinforced it with the terrifying serrated teeth of sharks. Imagine going into battle wearing a suit made of shark teeth.
It's wild to think about, right? Humans looked at a shark and thought, you know what? That jaw looks like a great chest plate. But as brilliant as bone and boiled leather were, they had a massive expiration date. They rotted, they cracked, and they couldn't stand up to the biggest game changer in human history: metallurgy.
When humans figured out how to melt rock and turn it into metal, warfare changed overnight. Suddenly, you could shape bronze and iron. Around 1400 BCE in ancient Greece, we get one of the most insane pieces of early metal armor ever discovered: the dendra panoply. This wasn't a little breastplate. This was a full suit of heavy, interlocking bronze plates that covered a warrior from neck to knees. It weighed a ton. If you wore this, you weren't a nimble athlete. You were a human tank. The catch? You almost certainly needed a chariot to carry you onto the battlefield, because walking in that thing in the Mediterranean heat was a workout from hell. And this sparked a brutal cycle that continues even today. Someone builds a better sword, someone builds a thicker armor to stop that sword.
someone builds a heavier weapon to pierce that armor. Enter chainmail.
Around the 4th or 3rd century BCE, Celtic smiths popularized chainmail. Instead of one stiff, heavy sheet of metal, imagine thousands of tiny iron rings, individually punched, riveted, and linked together. Why was this a stroke of genius? Because rigid armor restricts your movement. Chainmail acts like a liquid metal fabric. It drapes over your body like a heavy sweater, letting you swing a sword, twist, and run, while offering nearly impenetrable protection against slashing blades.
People often think plate armor made you a clumsy, stuck-in-the-mud turtle. That is a total myth. Knights could do cartwheels, mount horses without stirrups, and sprint in this gear. The weight was distributed evenly across the entire body. A suit of plate armor was so well engineered that a sword slash literally slid right off its curved surfaces. In fact, the only way to reliably kill a fully armored knight in hand-to-hand combat was to use specialized weapons like warhammers or poleaxes designed to bash through the steel, or find the tiny gaps in the armpits and visor. So if armor was so good, why aren't we wearing it today?
The end of armor didn't come from a better sword. It came from chemistry and physics. The moment gunpowder and firearms entered the battlefield, heavy steel plates became obsolete. A musket ball didn't care about your 50-pound medieval chest piece. It punched right through it. For a couple of centuries, armor largely vanished from the battlefield because bullets simply outpaced protection. It wasn't until the 20th century, with the invention of synthetic fibers like Kevlar and advanced ceramics, that we cracked the code again. Today's soldiers and law enforcement officers wear body armor that weighs a fraction of a knight's suit, yet can stop high-velocity rounds.